To address the issues facing Tennesseans today, from 10 News, this is Inside Tennessee.
Good morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. Along with my colleague John North, I'm John Becker, and we are here to talk about the election primary that just ended for early voting on Thursday, and we will see Election Day Tuesday. Back with us this week, break out the fireworks, Don Bosch, Democrat, runs his own law firm. Thank you, Juan. And Susan Richardson Williams. She runs her own PR firm, back to analyze what is on the ballot, and there is a lot. And as we get started with this discussion, I'm just going to remind our viewers that this is a primary, so you have to choose whether you vote in the Democratic primary or you vote in the Republican primary. That's caused some consternation among some voters, always does, but on primaries you do have to choose which primary you're going to vote for. Okay, let's start with one of the hottest races, and that is the race for Knox County Sheriff. That involves two veterans of that force, both on the Republican side of the equation. You know them both well. Sheriff Spangler wants his job back, and Sheriff J.J. Jones wants his job back. He's the old sheriff. Don, who has the edge in this race, and what are you watching?
Well, I think if there's an edge right now, it's probably with the incumbent, and that's Sheriff Tom Spangler. It's kind of one of those situations where both administrations, formerly under J.J. Jones and now under Tom Spangler, they both have had their challenges. They both have had their, frankly, their scandals to speak of. It's always morale amongst troops in a sheriff's department usually is either low or the lowest it's ever been. So the complaint that's being made that the local or the current rank and file are not happy with Sheriff Spangler. I don't know how much stock I necessarily put in that, but I think I give the edge to Spangler for two reasons. One, we don't like recycled politicians, and JJ, I'm afraid, is going to be seen as a recycled politician. And two, if you look back at the Trammell Spangler race, Tom Spangler beat Lee Trammell significantly, and it was really perceived at the time that Trammell was just sort of a proxy for JJ. So if that mentality exists anymore, and I don't know that it does, I still think the edge has to go to Tom Spangler.
Susan, your take on that race in particular?
I agree with everything Don said. The Lee Trammell vote last time, if y'all remember, that race was called at 5 minutes after 8, and I think it shocked everyone. I think the discussion I hear out in the community is that they think of Tom Spangler as a cop's cop. They look at JJ a little bit more as a politician. So I think I agree with Don on that one, and I think it's going to be a good race. We're hearing a lot of interest about that one in the community. I did particularly like Tom Spangler's commercial that I've seen a couple times where he's got 3 other sheriffs standing with him. I think that one was very effective and got a lot of people's attention. So this one's spent there's been a lot of money spent in this race as well. A lot of money raised, a lot of money spent. So I think that's one we're going to be paying close attention to on May 3rd.
When we talk about a lot of money, John, you've looked at those numbers, at least the last that they filed.
Yeah, I mean, they both have spent a fairly equivalent amount of money, maybe not as much as I thought that they would. They are, I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that in terms of the races, they were one of the bigger spenders in town, and races certainly for, like, with us. There are a couple other politicians, but still is not as much money as I thought, and has not had as much drama as I thought we would see. And I like Don's point. Somebody had made the observation to me, in Knox County, when you get out of office, we tend to think you're out of office and you're done, and that may be something happening here as well. Now, I want to make clear, there are some people in the department that don't like Tom Spangler. They don't care for him. They think what he's done is not good for the department. And there are people in the city-county building, which is the center of government, who don't like him either. Nevertheless, he would appear to have the lead in this race.
Let's move to another race, and John, you pick. It's on your table now.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, I'll kind of come out of left field and talk about a judicial race, which I'm very interested in, and it's the race for chancellor. Clarence Pridemore is the current incumbent. He's running for another 8 years. He shocked everybody in the legal community and maybe in the parties themselves as a beginner, as a Republican beginner in beating Darrell Fansler, which was an enormous shock. He's running, as I say, to retain the seat. He's running against Dino Cole, who is a respected attorney in town, and he's also running against the former law director, which is significant because a lot of people think Bud Armstrong has such great recognition, name recognition, having served on county commission, having been the law director, that he may have a shot at it. I'm not going to predict. I am curious what Don and Susan think. I'm not going to predict.
Don, go ahead.
Well, I'll start. Yeah, I think, first of all, the telling thing for me is the Knoxville Bar Association does a very good job with judicial elections of publishing a bar poll where all the lawyers are polled as to what they think of the candidates for any judicial position. Bud Armstrong scored historically low on that from all the lawyers, irrespective of party, irrespective of practice. Pridemore scored better than Armstrong, but still poorly, particularly for a sitting judge. And Dino Cole, who the lawyers know well, or many lawyers know, scored very well. What's interesting is Dino probably has the most difficult shot because of name recognition. I think Bud's got a little bit of a political machine behind him. I will say that when Clarence Pridemore took the bench, I had great concerns with his lack of practice and lack of experience. He's working his way through that. He's become a good, hardworking judge. He still makes some mistakes, but I'll give him credit for working hard at his craft. Bud Armstrong, I'm afraid, if he brings his typical brand of politics into the bench, I think a lot of people may be concerned with him as a jurist versus a politician.
Don, just a quick follow-up before we get to Susan on this one, but explain for our viewers who don't know the significant things that a chancellor handles day to day.
Sure. It is the most intellectual bench, so to speak, in the courthouse. They handle complex contractual matters, matters of, thousands and thousands of pages. They don't hear criminal cases. They may hear the occasional divorce case, but it's a civil bench, usually with very complex real estate, commercial, contractual type matters that really take a lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of thought. And that's why everybody was very disturbed when Darrell Fansler was removed, because he was perceived as one of, if not the brightest, one of the brightest judges in Knox County. So it is a very, very complicated position and takes a lot of experience and legal know-how to do it effectively.
Susan, we've got a break in about 30, but your take quickly on this race.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what Don said. I think Bud Armstrong does have a political following in the Republican Party in Knox County, and I think that's going to give him somewhat of an edge. His name starts with an A as well, which is always helpful. We all were shocked 8 years ago when Chancellor Fansler was defeated. I'm going to guess even Chancellor Pridemore was probably surprised that he won. But I think Bud probably has a little bit of an advantage just because of the political base that he has among the county party.
All right, we're going to take a quick break on Inside Tennessee. Back with more analysis of the primary election. We'll hit on the at-large county commission seats right after this.